And today I'm going to talk about an interesting camera, MPP Microcord. Now this dates from about 1953 and it's very similar to a Rolleicord. Rolleicord is a twin lens reflex made in Germany, and they are brilliant cameras for 2.25 for medium format. After the war there was an incredible shortage of these cameras, and there was a sort of upswell of British camera industry trying to make good quality cameras. And this company that were based in Croydon, who were well known for making a fantastic large format camera, where a 5.4 camera, came up with a design of a 2.25 twin lens reflex, very similar to the Rolleicord, but with one or two differences. And I've just bought this recently from an auction. It's in quite nice condition. I've been wanting one for years, but they can have shutter problems. Trying to get the right one is not always easy, but let's see how we get on with this. Right, if we right, there we are, the two lenses here, and you can see your shutter and your aperture here, and the lens on this one is a Ross lens, Esprit 70. It's a 3.5. I've got a feeling, yes, it's 77.5, so a tiny bit wider than the standard 80 you often find on this type of camera. You focus on the side and you look through here to get your image there, and you focus here and you set your aperture and shutter speed there. Very straightforward. To load, this is very similar to on the Rolleicord. You've got your take-up spool here, and I'm going to get a film. Very standard 2.25 film. Going to use some black and white. No, I might be doing this wrong, but what normally happens on these cameras, you pop it in here and make sure that the spool goes there. That's super. You find the slot here to put in the film. You hold it a little bit and you start to wind. Right, you see that's not quite on there, so make sure that's on there, good. And you wind until we'll have it. The start needs to line up with this red. See, there's a red dot there. I'm going to wind it until that arrow is lined up with those two red dots. Make sure the catch is done there. Now over here we then have a naught, and we'll wind that until it gets to number 1. Let's just sort of stop there. So now it's all ready to go out and use. As I said, we've got focusing here, shutter speed I set here and here, and the actual shutter I have to set the shutter here, and then I can activate the shutter there. So it has to be cocked, as we say, and then it's activated there. Right, I'm going to go and use this camera and get back to you, and we'll see what the results are like. As I said, classic little English microcord. These were used by the photographic profession. They were quite highly regarded. As I said, these were made in about from about 1952. I think the Microflex, which was a slightly superior camera in that it had a crank handle, that came out in 58. Unfortunately, the import market was beginning to hot up, and we were beginning to get the Rolleiflex and Rolleicord coming back into the UK. There was a lot of competition from Japan. Yashica were beginning to get on the market, and the British camera company, the MPP Micro Precision Products, I think they were called, just couldn't cope with the competition, and unfortunately, I think these were finally bought out by someone like Dixon's. To take the photograph, you simply have to obviously focus. In the middle are the two operating circles for aperture, and for the shutter speed you set the shutter right at the bottom like that, and when you have set the shutter you simply click. Here we have the King's Arms before it was done up, and two other photographs taken on the MPP in Dorchester. Very sharp, lovely camera.